Alright guys, let's get right into it, because there's a lot going on in the pattern right now. We've still got multiple cold fronts lining up, and the models are starting to lock in on one particular system around November 9th and 10th that's really catching my eye. This could be a much more intense Arctic blast, one of those setups that grabs the whole country's attention. But before we jump into that, I want to take a step back and give you a full November overview. A big picture look at how this month is shaping up, now that we're officially into it, and even a sneak peek at what early December might have in store. And remember, long-range outlooks like this are always a little fuzzy on the details, but what we can do is look for key trends, signals, and patterns that keep showing up across the models. That's where the real story starts to take shape. So first off, let's rewind and talk about October real quick. The West Coast and parts of the Southeast actually ran a little cooler than normal, while most of the central US and some of the Northeast saw much warmer than average temperatures. So yeah, the middle of the country was basically roasting through most of the month. Now, switching gears to what's happening right now, we've got some storminess down south. A system is working its way across the deep south today. Rain from Florida, all the way up through the Carolinas, and even the Delmarva region. Monday morning could be a bit rough with rain and some gusty winds before that system quickly slides offshore. Once that clears out, we'll feel a bit of a cool down early in the week. That's our first cold front doing its thing. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. Then we've got another front right on its heels midweek, bringing some cooler air into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. We'll probably see a bit of a temperature drop there, plus some storminess across the region between Wednesday and Thursday. Out west though, it's a whole different story. It's going to be storm after storm. We're talking heavy mountain snow, valley rain, just an active stretch overall. And then, here's where things start to get wild. Around November 9th, both the European and GFS models are hinting at something much stronger. We're talking about a deep, low-pressure system near the upper peninsula of Michigan, with snow breaking out across northern Minnesota and the upper Midwest. Behind that front, a real Arctic blast surges south. And this one looks legit on both models. It's that classic setup where cold air just erupts straight out of Canada and floods into the central and eastern US. We'll likely see snow showers breaking out across the Great Lakes, parts of the Ohio Valley, and even some higher elevations in the Northeast. And, on top of that, it looks like a quick-hitting nor'easter could form along the East Coast, bringing rain, wind, and maybe some early season snow up north. After that, the models show a quick warm-up around the 15th, one of those classic flips where temperatures surge back up for a day or two before the next front rolls through. It's the kind of whiplash pattern you only see this time of year. Warm one day, Arctic air the next. That's exactly what we're seeing. And speaking of active patterns, precipitation looks impressive. The western US, especially the mountains, is absolutely loading up on moisture. The Southwest is even getting in on it, which is a great sign for that region. From the deep south up through the Midwest and into the Northeast, we're seeing solid rainfall totals, while parts of the plains and Southeast run a bit drier. Now, snowfall. This is the most wintry setup we've seen so far this season. The mountainous west is getting buried. The northern plains and upper Midwest are stacking it up, and even the Great Lakes and parts of the Ohio Valley could get in on the snow action. The Northeast mountains are showing up strong too. So, if this Arctic blast hits as modeled, we could see some legitimate snowfall piling up across the northern third of the US. Looking at temperatures, we've got some sharp contrasts. After Halloween's trough, the early part of this week stays a bit cooler. Then we get that mini warm-up around the 5th or 6th. And then, boom! That intense Arctic front dives south around the 9th and 10th. I mean, it's dramatic. On the European model, that cold air just explodes out of the Arctic and barrels straight into the Midwest and East. Some areas could be running 15 to 25 degrees below normal. That's midwinter level cold for early. November, then. Just as quickly, the warmth surges back in. We're talking the potential for another 15 to 25 degrees above normal out ahead of the next storm system. A wild roller coaster ride of temperature swings. Now, by mid to late November, Both the European and GFS extended models are showing a pattern that trends warmer for the central and eastern US, at least temporarily. But what's really interesting is what happens after Thanksgiving. Around that late November to early December window, both models start to cool the east again. That's when we could see the switch flip, just like last year, where we go from a back-and-forth fall pattern straight into a consistent colder regime heading into winter. Now, as we get closer to mid-month, I think this entire pattern is going to crank up another notch. By late November, we'll probably be talking about lake effect snow setting up across the Great Lakes, more widespread snow events for the northern US, and potentially some bigger systems that could track coast to coast. For now, though, it's all about timing. These early systems look slow-moving and somewhat scattered, but by the middle and end of November, the frequency of storms should pick up significantly, all right? Let's talk future radar. Here's what I'm watching unfold over the next week to 10 days. Over the next 48 hours, we've got that southeast system dumping rain and storms across the region, while another small system pushes into the northeast by Monday. Then, Tuesday and Wednesday, high pressure builds in over the Ohio Valley and the southeast, bringing calmer, warmer conditions for a short time. By Friday, the next big player arrives, that northern plain system we talked about earlier, bringing a mix of rain, storms, and possibly some light snow up north. I don't think we're talking about any blockbuster snow event yet, but this could easily be the first measurable snow for parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin. Heading into the weekend, the models start to get messy, but they're hinting at that same system pushing into the Midwest, possibly spreading a band of light snow into Iowa, Illinois, and even southern Wisconsin. For some areas, that could end up being your first snowfall of the season. By Sunday into Monday, we could see that wintry weather inch closer to the East Coast as colder air deepens across the region. And beyond that, the long-range models all agree on one thing. The pattern turns active. Multiple large storm systems, deep troughs, and a strong jet stream. All the classic ingredients for November mischief are on the table. Now, let's zoom in on temperatures, because this roller coaster is about to pick up speed. Right now, we're seeing below-average temperatures across the East Coast, the Ohio Valley, and much of the Mississippi Valley. The warm pocket sits out west, across the northern plains and the Pacific coast. But that's about to shift. Early in the week, temperatures will moderate a bit across the Midwest and plains, while the east stays cool. Then by Thursday and Friday, that warmth really expands eastward, only to be followed by another shot of cold air diving into the northeast late week. And by next weekend, models are hinting at a major push of cold air sweeping from the central US all the way to the Atlantic. We're talking widespread 15-25 degree departures from normal, a true taste of early winter. That cold shot looks like it could linger into early next week. And if it does, some of those areas, especially the Great Lakes and interior Northeast, could be dealing with snow showers or even some light accumulations. And get this, we might even see freezing. Temperatures reach as far south as parts of the Gulf Coast tonight. Yeah, you heard that right. Central Mississippi could dip into the mid-30s, and parts of southeast Missouri and western Tennessee could flirt with freezing. So if you're down there, maybe cover those plants. It's going to feel like winter's creeping in early. All right. If you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, leave your region or city in the comments. I'll answer them individually as I have time. Commenting is completely free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.